We'll see who plays it though. Like if it's gonna be a 5 or a 4. To me, it doesn't seem like a big DJ hero, does it? He's like,
It's probably down. You are
Yeah.
playing it. He's really good at healing supports.
yeah,
Really, really good.
and DJ's more of like a playmaker, so didn't want to see that on him anyway. So I do imagine that they probably wanted a TA here, but now that you see a DK, maybe not so much. High armor hero. TA likes to reduce armor, so having that extra armor helps a lot. But they still might do it anyway. Oh, Medusa, yay!
Yay!
Very, very fun and exciting hero.
So do you guys want to revisit how long you think the game lengths are going to be?
Oh, long.
45 minutes to an hour.
You bumped it up another 20 minutes.
I'm actually agreeing with that.
I mean, the game length in general here in C, and it just might just be a patch thing too, is fairly high. It's not really easy to break high ground, and I think it has evolved over time where teams do not force the issue like on the second Aegis. This is before, you know, get the first Aegis, you would just kind of chill and farm. And the second Aegis, most people are, alright, let's go high ground, but a lot of throws have happened over the years by trying to go high ground with the second Aegis. So now it's kind of just evolved into like, we don't go high ground ever unless it's completely free. And very rarely is that the case. So they just play it out until like the hour-minute mark. Yep.
Yeah.
Wow,
It's
so,
this is the
I'm just
draft.
so
Whoa.
I'm so bored of that place. That makes me kind of sad.
I
but
don't
it's-
even have that many questions that I can ask you about Medusa anymore because we see her so often, and I feel like the
She sure is a
responses-
hero.
she is a hero and she has been picked. Yes.
Sure do be there.
And the game is gonna go for some time.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder what Boom will like as a response. I'm actually surprised FNATIC are banning Anti-Mage. I feel like Anti-Mage has lost to Medusa like every single game it's been. I mean, it's lost every single game it's been picked, bar one, which FNATIC won.
Is it only one? I thought it had more than one win. I think it
No.
has two.
No way, it has two.
I don't
And that
know.
might be across
We
Div
watched
1
it
and
lose
Div
again.
2.
Yeah, we watched. It was like 7-1 or something, and then it lost again.
Yeah.
It was at a 14% win rate or something.
It's definitely very low.
It was
I mean,
horrible.
Medusa's just hard to beat because like she's a ranged hero, so her laning stage is really strong.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, she has strong timing. So like heroes like Anti-Mage and even Terrorblade to some extent, and Phantom Lancer, heroes that burn mana from the Medusa, these are very slow heroes. So by the time they get the items required to actually be considered like advantageous in this matchup, Medusa potentially could just be eating your racks already and could be ending the game. So it's a very scary timing she has.
Well, what I can talk about that's not to do with Medusa is I'm surprised that the drafting style has shifted into this new series. They didn't play like too long ago, it's pretty recent, but I think like Hoodwink was a hero that both teams really liked. DJ's really, really good at Hoodwink. Tim's is really, really good at Hoodwink. Lately, Skem has been playing a lot of Hoodwink. So it was a hero that even ended up as a first phase ban the last time they played off against each other, but we see it unbanned, unpicked. It's kind of like, that's interesting to me. Do you have any insight on that, Fear? Like why picks and bans change? Like,
Just meta evolves within regions specifically when you play teams over and over again. Like you just start to like mind read each other.
never
but-
mind, there's Hoodwink. Let's go!
Yeah, I mean it wasn't out yet. There's still like more supports to be picked. So
Yeah.
They played last week, by the way.
That was not long ago.
No,
Yeah.
that was exactly a week ago.
Yeah.
This time last Saturday, they played.
10 seconds remaining.
That's the only thing I have to contribute to this conversation.
Yeah.
Fnatic, do you want them to pick up their other support here and potentially the mid laner, or would you rather them pick up an off laner?
I think they just pick their support now. They don't really see enough. I don't think there's a great reason to wait. Like you can have more impact the more you wait, but not really. So they're just gonna go with the stun. Treant's not a really reliable stun. And Tidehunter, not sure why they think Tide is the best pick here, to be totally honest with you. Like, Grimstroke, very good versus him, and Hoodwink has a break. So, I don't know. That pick right there, like, in versus DK, it's like, it's whatever. Like, I don't see how Tide is great versus DK either. You can purge the stun, but what if Hoodwink breaks you?
Might just be some form of comfort from them. I think I watched Jabs play Tidehunter in a previous series where I was like, this doesn't seem like the greatest Tide game. But it just turned into this game where he got his blink, they moved, like, they would just smoke up and go, and his Ravages were just, they just won the game. They just only took fights around Ravage, and it
I
just
mean,
allowed them to do whatever they wanted because Medusa could like position herself with a.
yeah, I mean, it does give him a lot of team fight. But Shaman Tide is like a classic because for that reason you drop the wards and Tide's there with the Ravage, right?
Yeah.
And then you have Tree Medusa. So they have a ton of team fight. So it is a little scary in that regard if they can group up. But Tide is killable for sure because he will not be able to get Ravage off if he gets broke or Grimstroke silences him with an Ursa on him. So it's going to be a lot of work up to DJ here on his Shaman, and Medusa also is going to have to get a good Stone Gaze too if they want to save this Tide. So high execution, I think, for FNATIC's lineup right now.
They don't really have any vision heroes on Boom at least, which is nice. They'll have to play around wards, or else I feel like Jabs will probably get some pretty solid Ravages off.
Yeah, I guess he's going to play that backline Tide and not the frontline Tide that just sits there and absorbs every spell and is unkillable.
Yeah.
So he's just probably going to sit back with a Blink Dagger, and Medusa will do the frontlining. He might have a rough lane. I mean, it depends. I've seen this Ursa like do really poorly in lane versus Tide if there's a lot of spam. So I don't know. The Grimstroke is known to grief too, so I'm not sure who's going to play this Hoodwink.
Grim might take it.
Yeah, so
Grim
I would
DK
like,
seems good, too.
yeah, I would like Grim to not go in the safe lane because I actually think they'll lose to like Shaman Tide. I think Ursa will just get spammed down. There's not enough kill threat.
So you don't overly like the Ursa pick?
Oh, it's good this for sure,
Okay.
but I'm afraid for his laning stage a little bit
Right.
because Shaman Tide can be very strong if the position 5 isn't good. Like if there's some Lich or something, I'd be like, yeah, there's no way that FNATIC will have a chance versus Ursa. But Hoodwink and Grim don't strike me as like the strongest boss 5s in lane.
Mm-hmm.
This is Boom did lose game 1 to FNATIC. With
I was
Ursa
about
there.
to bring it up. I was like, maybe they were really confident that they could have won it last time they faced off. That they're like,
I mean, that game was just like, not to flame or anything, but Jackie just forgot to press his buttons and just died, and then their throne died. He just
Exactly.
There's literally one fight he just forgot to press BKB, he forgot to press Rage. He died. He was playing really well before then, and then his throne exploded.
so maybe he wants to prove himself.
Yeah, maybe redemption.
This is it. This is the redemption arc for Jackie Ursa.
I would not mind seeing a Pango for Boom for FBZ this game, and just put Yopaj and DK mid.
Okay.
Why not Pango mid?
Because FBZ's Pango is literally beyond godlike. He is so
Okay.
good at that hero, it's insane.
Does Yopaj not play it?
I haven't seen him play it.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
FBZ was so good on
I think
it.
it's the only time she might be like, I prefer FBZ.
Bro, what do you
over-
mean?
First time she might be like, I prefer anyone else over Yopaj.
Dude.
Is FBZ on Pango.
His Pango is beautiful. Straight up.
FNATIC are on their last pick though, and don't worry.
Oh,
Why do they always do
whoa,
this?
Armel, what are you doing? This dude
Alright.
just like has a box of tricks he likes
What
to pull
about
from.
Timber Band? Perfect. I looked at the bands. As I was saying.
I'm so
Good.
proud of you.
Good lad.
What
So
about
scratch what I said. I mean, the Pango doesn't look bad,
Yeah?
honestly. I mean, the lane. Will he get bopped in lane, though?
They'll make it work.
There's Tree
for
and
sure.
Medusa. Sounds like a hard lane.
Yeah. The only problem with the Pango probably is that he would have to take the Hoodwink with him, and then you have the Grim Ursa lane you weren't too keen on.
It's just difficult. Like, you just have to go for kills. And as a carry player, and you're playing Ursa, you don't really want to. You just want to farm, honestly. You just want to hit some creeps. But
Yeah.
Grimstroke forces you into a situation where you just like have to go for kills because that's what Grim's toolkit is for. He doesn't really help you farm; he helps you get skills. So it can work. It's just high execution.
Yeah, they could just go more stuns in general, just get Sand-King. Or like,
Okay.
I don't know what mids. I'm trying to think of mids I would want to see.
Nothing really jumping out to you guys?
No, I'm happy with this. I'm happy with the
Yeah.
Pango. I'm happy with the
And
Pango.
the DK makes sense versus the Wind Ranger mid. So.
Alrighty, well, these two teams, Boom FNATIC, we see their game 1 draft. We're also going to get to see our casters for this
Wow.
game. It is going to be Mike and
Mike and
John. Whoa!
my
Mike, how are you
God.
guys doing, Mike? Your face, you're like, whoa, it's us. How are you guys feeling? And tell me a little bit more about this draft if you want to
it's
start,
the
Mike.
Yopaj Pango. It is.
Feeling fantastic, thank you. And yeah, Yopaj Pango. I thought they were going to give it to FBZ. I was feeling quite confident with the FBZ Pango coming up, but Yopaj Pango instead Don't know how to feel about it right now. What I do know, though, is Wind Ranger is a terrible pick. I have no faith in it whatsoever
Right.
for Fnatic.
I was gonna say, would we use the T word?
Oh, we will definitely use the T word. I mean, this is trash. Absolute trash is the Wind Ranger. Boom Esports game 1 in the bag.
I find it interesting that Fnatic even go for that Wind Ranger. I feel like that's just a confidence pick because, you know, Japoy loves this Wind Ranger mid as well. So if you're a Boom fan, you're kind of feeling happy because, as Mike said, Wind Ranger, it's not the best. And I do feel like Fnatic's draft is good at protecting the DOTA, but Boom still has this really early aggression that Fnatic has to be worried about.
Has anything Mike and John said, you know, changed your minds, or were you guys always going to be all in for Boom? Are we going to cast a curse them and go 4 in for Boom?
I mean, I think I'm gonna cut you off. Sorry, but
Oh, please go ahead, sir.
I
Go
think
ahead.
I think Boom's just a better team, but I do like Fnatic's draft as a whole. I think it's really hard to team fight into. So if they do get ahead and they can hold it, Fnatic has a decent shot.
But you're going to say Boom.
Yeah, I think they're
Yeah,
just better.
that's same.
I'll curse them. I think Boom's gonna win. I'm sorry.
Hey, you know what? Their skills might be able to outweigh the caster curse, but we are going to jump into game 1 with Mike and John to find out if they can do that.
Oh, thank you so much, Nat. We do go into game 1 between Fnatic and Boom Esports. And John, before we do get into it, I just wanted to say, even though you're trying to rub it in my face, Jonathan, happy birthday.
Happy birthday. It's my birthday. Thank you, Mike.
Well,
it's all I'm not my pro.
No, on Twitter, John, it says fans celebrating John Cena's birthday. That's you.
Well, you can't see me. Well, you can see me now, so obviously I'm not John Cena, Mike. I also don't resemble a potato salad, unfortunately. And this match should be quite mushy, though, just like a potato salad would be. A rematch. We heard John Newell interview, you know, he's just looking forward to playing Boom again. And for John Newell, of course, this is up against his old friends, Skem, Yopaj, the trio of Neon that kind of made Neon big. All in really good teams now, so I am keen on seeing what Fnatic has learned up against their last matchup with Boom, and whether or not Boom can adjust. We do have our standard pre-game pause here, as we do get in Southeast Asia. So a little bit more time with you and me, Mike, a little bit more time to talk around. I've been talking to the teams about visas because I'm just personally curious about how the process goes. I do have news. Boom is pretty tired. Yopaj, I was talking to Tim's. You know, I bought PC parts from him. I said, you know, Yopaj is going to buy me my next PC. Tim said, go ahead. But he sent me a video of his shop. Zach was there. Yopaj was there. Yopaj looks so dead. And I was looking at the team cams, you know, from the draft. Yopaj still looks dead from their trip to the agency. So hopefully he picks up pace. You know, he's not playing that DK mid. He's playing Pango. It's a bit more intensive. Hopefully he's gained that energy back. He's a hungry beast, Mike. We've got to see that hunger.
Absolutely. And John, if you're going to bring up Tim's PC shop, did you want to shout out the name of the shop, Jonathan? Considering they did sell you some parts.
Tim's PC computer shop? Tim's
So hold on,
PC part shop?
He gave it to you for mates rates. He gave you cheaper products, and you can't even name the name of his PC shop. Is that what you're telling me?
I got it. It's Tim's Computer Center. Check it out. Very nice. Of course, you could meet the man himself, along with, if you go to Eggaholic, I'm sure Tim's would entertain you for sure.
Oh, hold on, John. Bottom lane, FBZ is going to be very careful here. Ward's going to give vision perfectly of the DK, but can they lock him down? Gush is going to be there, but do they actually have the lockdown? It seems like they do, right by the tier 1 tower. Mel's going to claim first blood. And that's the best start you could have asked for here for Fnatic.
Yeah, that's just a great smoke out. Great use of your ward. Gonna deny it off as well to permit D wards. Get the kill onto the big hero. You want the snowball early on. The trash hero, as he called it, Mike. Wind Ranger having a great start already. Build up into the bottle is gonna be faster. Ferrying out a null. So your lane management with a null into lane is actually really good. You can keep spamming the power shot really well with a mana cost reduction. You can kind of harass out against Pangolier, play it from a mile away. For Yopaj, it's still a manageable lane, but they have to be a bit careful. Boom's still around here if they want to force something. Although their force do back off.
Yeah. I mean, Skem's still hanging around. Jabs, he's going to walk past. DJ, though, may get caught out. They were very patient here, Boom Esports, to move in onto the Shaman, but they missed the bushwhack. Oh, a bit unfortunate there from Skem. The all TP back to the lane, and I guess you probably wouldn't have found that kill anyway, even if you landed the bushwhack. Just a bit more damage.
A lot of aggression coming out already. Boom, again, a bit interesting that the support duo looked for that, but out the chorus. Still taking a look at the side lanes here, Mike. Tims is hanging around with FBZ, Grimstroke, Dragonite lane up against the Medusa and Treant lane. This is still a really good lane for Raven, right? Like, the DK can't really pressure Medusa too hard. You're gonna have to cop the Mystic Snake every time. You do have double stun. Stun Dragon Tail into Inkswell. It's pretty darn good, but they can't really do that until later on. And again, gap closing to Raven is tough. John Uel's always going to cut you off. He's got a good tree line to play with, not completely cleared out. So there's still a lot of avenues for that Treant to still apply that level 1 right-click harassment, which is massive for a Treant.
Rather surprising as well, they didn't give Tims the Hoodwink, right? Like, Skem, he took the Hoodwink himself as the pos 5, and I thought it was going to be a very strong combination to have with the DK Hoodwink. Just kind of that bushwhack into the Dragon Tail, but I suppose you can still do the same thing with Inkswell Dragon Tail. Maybe Tim's just going to be a little bit better at securing the range creep here for FBZ with the Stroke of Fate. I suppose that's probably why they've gone down this route of the DK Grimstroke combo.
Yeah, and again, that aggression can line up, but against Medusa, I think either way you're looking at playing more passively. So maybe you're just looking at that potential with a Hoodwink stun at top lane. So again, we do see Jackie along with Skem. You could bushwhack into a really nice set of Fury swipes. Maybe when you get the overpower as well, makes it easy to rip through. And that Tide, punish that melee versus melee matchup for the Ursa, and it starts to feel better. There is still, again, a lot of aggression that can come out with FNATIC. DJ has really good right clicks to trade with Skem. Can cut off that angle for the Hoodwink as well. And if you're not committing onto the Tide, he can still play that lane, which is Anchor Smash onto Jackie, and those first few hits with right clicks don't feel great. You really have to commit the time to melt the Tide, and if Skem can't get the stun, that time doesn't present itself.
Of course, that final lane we haven't really talked about yet, John. Mid lane, you've got, of course, the Armel boss against the Idol himself, so Yopaj and Armel just going at it. So far, very, very even kind of matchup. It does seem like the Pango is able to take the CS lead, but well, again, Armel, he got that first blood gold, so he is sitting very pretty right now. And in terms of harassment from Yopaj, up until you hit that level 6 mark, it doesn't seem like there's much kill potential here for the Pango.
Yeah, it's not quite up there. You could try to be aggressive, you know, play around with Swash, Shield Crash in whenever Armel presents himself in range. The good thing here for the Wind Ranger is that it's not a priority wind run lane. You can just go power shot without worrying about it too much. In fact, Armel at level 4, it does pick up the value point, but he did pick up the Shackle first. You could look for that aggression. You have the good supports on FNATIC's end to kind of come in for the 4 and 6 minute runes, which will be important against this Pangolier. And I think FNATIC's going to be looking good at that rotation. We'll see if they commit the time. So far, the side lanes have been stabilizing. It's fairly even across the board. Jackie is getting a little bit more from his top lane. The Raven isn't being slowed down either, so the offlaners are kind of copying a slower time, except for, well, Jabs. It is a Tide. He isn't being pressured, and again, Skem just can't find the angle to work this with DJ running around cutting him off.
It's the interesting thing with Ursa versus Tide, right? Because you imagine that the Ursa should just dominate the lane, but it's not really the case. Like, Jab's just so tanky on this Tide Hunter, not really threatened whatsoever, and of course, when you've got the Shaman right by you, chances are that Jackie's not going to be allowed to just run up and start right-clicking. There's going to be a bit of a group up here, boom. Rather, Yopaj and Skem going to group up, but a nice Shackles out from Armel onto 2. It was only a level 1 Shackle, though. So duration, not really that long. They'll be left to their own devices once again.
Yeah, that does... You know, it's that rotation we're looking for. Both teams do commit the supports. Yopaj still manages to grab his water rune, but movement out from Tims. It's not the worst in the world.
Jabs ends up finding a solo pick off there on Jackie, but Skem gonna try and return the favor. Still DJ is there with the Shackles, and Skem, he can't get the job done. He's gonna leave, and well, Jabs, he's just gonna stick around.
Yeah, he's finding a lot of form in his Tide. Already has the Bracer up, has the Orb Corrosion up as well. So it can be tricky to full commit onto the Tide, but Jabs has stayed around a bit here.
Oh, Bushwhack's gonna lock him down. Jabs, he'll get punished. This DJ now may also suffer the same consequences as Jackie coming right back into a double kill, it seems like, as DJ, well, it's not a double kill, but nevertheless, 2 kills to go the way of Boom Esports top lane. Terrible news for FNATIC.
Not what you want to see. I mean, you're still happy about finding that initial kill on the Ursa. This is an interesting build-up from Jackie, though. He is going for the Battle Fury. It does look like Perseverance first. Tim's getting chased down by John Uel. So again, that early presence coming out from Treant, working that lane really nicely, giving a great start for Raven, and preventing any aggression from Tims. We're so used to seeing him being this big pause forward that disrupts the lane, that looks for those kill opportunities. for the DK Grimstork, again, it's just tough to run up to Dusa. You want to play with Dragon Tail, you want to play with Inkswell. You can't really do that. Raven is sort of isolated now, but you just don't have that Inkswell ready. It's still stuck at level 1. The damage output might not be enough with the Dusa already up at level 4 as well. Value point from the shield. So that burst window to kind of harass that lane is sort of gone, and Tims is just forced to keep stacking up, going for the slow game here.
Yeah, it seems like you kind of accept the fact that Raven's not going to be slowed down any further, and you're just going to have to try and contest him later on. I suppose Jackie is keeping up very nicely though on the Ursa anyway, and well, the Ursa generally has a bit of a faster timing than say the Dusa, so yeah, depending on the item build you go for, which I imagine is probably gonna be Diffusal Blade?
No.
I say that, Jackie's going Battle Fury.
Yeah, he's queued up Perseverance. He's had that queued up for a long time. So I think they're going for the farming game. They realize that if they play tempo with Diffusal, Deuce is just going to outfarm you. You're not going to be scaling all too well. You know, the efficiency of Raven is just much higher. So you want to play the slower game with Ursa Battle Fury. We've seen that a couple of times in certain games. It does pay off, but they will have to stall for Jackie. This guy does find farm everywhere, but that will put a lot of pressure on FBZ and on Yopaj to really play make and buy that space down the line.
That's a fair point, John. I mean, if there's one thing we noticed about Jackie when we first started seeing him back in Motivate Trust days is how fast the man does farm. So I suppose the Battle Fury just fine here for the Ursa. So yeah, allowing a bit more sustain for himself as well while he's farming. Lane Raven still freely farming up, though Tims is now rotating down. They might try and go for an attempt on the Dusa. With 3 heroes around, they'll start off with the Dragon Tail, but do they really have the control? FBZ, he'll go for a dive in. Raven, he's out of mana. He does need some help, but Januel's going to be around. Still the Rolling Thunder now. Yopaj is going to join in, and that'll be Raven surely going down, though he's still surviving. With the stick charges, he'll walk away, at least for now, but Japoy still on the chase. Still Januel, he's making it very, very hard as Raven, he's actually going to turn around. Stroke of Fate will connect, but it's not going to be enough to take down Raven. It will just allow Japoy to get out, but Raven somehow surviving on that Medusa.
And that's a pretty big win. You used that time well in FNATIC. You managed to find a kill for Armel onto Skem, getting that punishment off. And you're slowing down that snowball effect from Boom. That does force the Medusa to walk back to base. Now, this is time where she's not farming, not building up, but she's not bleeding netward way. And that's a concern for Boom. You do want Yopaj to get rolling. He had that double damage, didn't have too much time, didn't manage to get a big swash use with it as well. So they were pretty cut off, and just really good movement from FNATIC to prevent that kill. They are starting to play around mid a bit, but without the roll, there's no opportunity that really presents itself. And while you leave these lanes solo, the top lane for Jackie becomes slightly tougher. There's the threat of Ravage on Jabs. DJ hasn't left this lane at all. He's just constantly pressuring Jackie. The Perseverance is still being built up. I believe the Ring of Health is flying through now. So Jackie could try to sustain in the jungle, but you're not going to be clearing out so fast until the Battle Fury's up.
I mean, Jabs can just sit there as long as he wants. As you're going to see Boom. The Tims and Yopaj starting to clear out those stacks on the Ancient side of things. Not the Ancients quite yet, that is, but more so the Triangle. So Yopaj still keeping up in farm, but in terms of net worth, he has fallen a fair bit behind here in the Pango. When you look at Armel in comparison, and he's just about 300 gold ahead right now on the Wind Ranger. But more importantly, he's got the Javelin up now, and this is around that time where you can really start to abuse the focus fire on the Wind Ranger. That is, if you can find a nice shackle target, and Yopaj is going to be spotted very soon by Armel, but he's going to back off immediately. And well, Armel, he is still going to smoke up with Genuel. See what they can find down at this bot lane. Again, with the Javelin, you've got plenty of magic damage. DJ, though, mid lane in the meantime, is in big trouble as Yopaj is going to be there with the Rolling Thunder, but doesn't quite connect the Inkswell. It just won't matter, though. He's got a very easy kill on his hands there on the Pangolier. They're even going to bring FBZ down. He jukes the gank completely here from FNATIC, and they'll move into the tier 1 mid tower.
Boom had a really good ward to spot that smoke, so they get to bring FBZ elsewhere, dodge the gank, get some pressure onto the tower. Jabs does come in, though. He does have Ravage with Soul Ring.
Yeah, he's going to pop that Soul Ring, though, as FBZ looking to back off, does commit the Dragon Tail. Jabs silenced up, still needs to get that Ravage off. Shackles, it's not going to land. You've got to pop the ulti if you want the kill, and FBZ, he's still going to walk away. Oh, boy. Yopaj, though, a nice Shackles out, but the Shaman is going to get bushwhacked up here by Scam. Nobody gonna die here from Boom Esports. It's FNATIC a little bit too patient, I think, on the Ravage, eventually do end up popping it, but do you have the follow-up? The shackles, they won't land, but they do have the power shot. Armel able to get the damage off in the end. They got themselves an even better target than FBZ.
Kill off Yopaj, they stall out that push on mid, and they managed to get really good use from Ravage. You are allowing some free farm out from Jackie up top. No pressure on his lane with the Tide gone. Same thing goes for Raven though. Still free farming in his jungle. No pressure at all for Dedusa. And again, when it comes to farm efficiency, Dedusa is a lot faster than the Ursa. So that should ramp up fairly quick. Jackie though, build up into the Battle Fury isn't taking too long. Only 2 parts away. And once that's up, he should be able to maintain the slight lead he has over that Dusa, or at least keep parity with the Dusa. So we'll see how much more FNATIC can get out. One issue for FNATIC is, whenever Ravage is down, it does feel like the team fights are tougher, especially while you're waiting for level 6 on your supports. Zhao does have Overgrowth ready, so you could look to stop this push down bot with a couple of reinforcements if they want to commit here on FNATIC's end.
They may just.
Oh, look at Roche.
Daniel is setting up Roshan. Oh, it's happening. They've got the Shadow Shaman after all. So bot lane, they might find Genuel, though he is just kind of juking them out. And in the meantime, Roshan's just happening. Boom Esports having no idea that this is ongoing as Armel is still there with DJ. And they will eventually get Roshan basically for free. As Boom kind of forget that Shadow Shaman is completely busted right now. Who needs Ursa when you've got Shadow Shaman?
Yeah, not what you like to see when you are running that Ursa, Mike. Really good use of that smoke. They sneak under that ward. Boom was ready. They had a Roche ward very early on, knowing that the wards were going to be a threat, but they don't manage to spot that smoke play from the fog. So, great movement out from FNATIC. This will allow some aggressive moves from Armel if he wants to. He is going for a straight BKB onto Wind Ranger, so he does want to take that activity for the team. They are still farming up, though. Jackie, again, only 1 part away from the Battle Fury, not too far off, and they find that bot tier 1. So you do get the push going on Boom's way. FNATIC trying to equalize, pushing in top without the wards. This is a bit of a slower process, and that does give Boom room to finish off that mid-tier 1 just a bit. They have to rip through that living armor, lots of healing going through, but eventually with bodies, they should be able to find this objective.
They should, but there is going to be the rotation out from Jabs. He's going to make it very hard on the Tide. Obviously, you can't really get past the man, and he's going to have Ravage back up in 1 second. You can't really contest the tier 1 for now, and that'll be healed up. It's one of the very annoying things about Treant Protector, isn't it, John? You leave the tier 1 towers for a bit, chances are next time you see them, they're going to be full HP again.
Yep, just a constant healing, constant stall mechanic coming from that Treant. Does mean that you're going to have to commit a little bit harder on the objectives if you want to. FBZ is going to have Dragon Form in a little bit, along with a blink and about 100 gold. So that's the time. Did you manage to spot out here, though?
Yeah, DJ going to drop very, very quickly. Very nice combo there with Skem and Yopaj. Able to take down the Shadow Shaman. As well, you saw Armel kind of hanging around on the Wind Ranger, but didn't really have a way to get into that fight. It still only has level 1 Shackle to boot, so he hasn't got the greatest lockdown right now on this Wind Ranger. As the levels do come up, he will be more of a threat. Of course, already still has that Maelstrom as well as the Aegis currently on the Wind Ranger, so definitely has kill potential. So for now, though, just more focused on farming than anything.
Just building up for both sides, kind of taking a more defensive stance in this game. A few skirmishes here and there, but no big clump ups yet. We do reach that point with Ursa. Battle Fury up on Jackie, so he can just flash farm like a madman. Again, he's got this very slight net worth lead over Raven, and he should be able to maintain that with Dedusa. FNATIC are going to go for a smoke play, not spotted out by any wards. No blink up yet on DJ or Armel, but if they find an angle here, it should be relatively easy to rip one hero apart.
They don't have one on Jabs either. So they are just trying to move in. I suppose Jabs isn't even in the team fight right now with FNATIC. Rather the smoke, as they are going to head towards the mid lane. Skem was hanging around on the Hoodwink, but it seems like Boom Esports realized something is awry. And to be fair, John, there was an observer ward around where they smoked. I'm not sure if it caught them, but it may as well have, because Boom, they're not falling for it. They won't give the opening.
They back off in time, waste some time for FNATIC. This does allow FNATIC to clump up for mid. They've got the wards ready from DJ, and they can just kind of siege this way. You don't have anything protected from Boom to stop that. See how many bodies they throw forward, but everyone's kind of clumped up here.
Yeah, they're going to try and defend Boom Esports. They don't want to allow this to go for free. The question is, how do you initiate? FBZ, he's got a Blink Dagger on the Dragon Knight, so that's a great way to get started. But the problem is, you know, Jabs is going to be there with that massive Ravage. There's no BKBs up yet. Could be a very scary fight for Boom to try and force. The T1 tower is going to drop, they'll jump in. Onto Armel they go. Keep in mind, he still has the Aegis up. So he has a secondary line for them to fight with. FNATIC, they'll move in with jabs. He'll frontline for the team. And Boom Esports, they want none of it. They will back off. They'll accept the fact they got the Aegis, but they do lose that mid T1 tower.
Very cautious play coming out from Boom. Just cutting their losses, finding what they can, pulling back, regrouping, having faith that Jackie's using his space well to farm up on that Ursa. Blink up on our Ursa, so he can join in these engagements. Nothing defensive does leave a bit of a worry. Lots of ways to hold that Ursa back in these team fights. Overgrowth, Ravage, even a Stone Gaze is going to be an issue in terms of running up to the Dusa in these fights. So, not sure if you're going to be ready to go yet. It at least speeds up Jackie's clearing of the map, giving him some mobility to jump through camp from camp and kind of keeping up pace that way. They are also choking away Raven from the bot jungle very nicely here. Raven hasn't really crossed the river for the top jungle yet, and that is going to slow down that Dusa just a bit. You still maintain that good lead for Jackie. Not a massive amount, but they are eyeing something here.
Yeah, bot lane, Jackie, he's found Genuel. Very easy now for Jackie to get involved and get these kills going. He's got that blink on the Ursa. In fact, they might go for more up north. FBZ, he's been targeted on. That's a great Shackles Armel. Locking onto two as there's your Ravage out. They might even find Skim the Hoodwink. So do they want to find Boom? They are grouping up. Yopaj is there. So is Jackie. Rolling Thunder's going to get off with the stone. Is out. So the Pango just could not keep rolling. Instead, they'll find Jabs. That's a great kill anyway. Jabs is going to drop. Skem is somehow still alive. And Boom, they just want to keep going for more, so Jackie, he'll blink in with the Ingswell. Raven, he tries to Manta dodge, but it's not going to be there. They'll lose the Medusa as Yopaj, he'll keep going. Armel, still just trying to get the Pango down. Does almost find him, but not quite. Yopaj, he won't be able to juke at the end, but it won't matter because he's going to give his life away for the opposing mid. They'll find the Wind Ranger. A terrible team fight for FNATIC and Boom. They completely wiped them.
And some great dancing around from Boom. It looked really messy to start. Again, lots of AoE from FNATIC. The Ravage, not the best use from Jabs. Cleaning up, only really picking up Skem in the end. And you kind of already found the big kill you wanted in FBZ at that point. You might have been better off to wait for, say, that commitment from the Pango, from the Ursa to really get that control off. They don't manage to find it. And now that does definitely open up mid. FBZ comes in with a Dragon form. Should be able to clear it out no problem despite that living armor. And Boom take the lead. 6-9, 4K up. Our Ursa just really out-farming Raven. Raven forced to show up a lot earlier than he'd want to in these engagements. And it's not what you want from your Dusa. You know, your Dusa still needs a lot more. Manta's up, Scotty needs to come up next. Maybe even a BKB in this match just to protect yourself from that control and, you know, just stand steady with a Stone Gaze in the middle of these fights. Boom, though, knowing that this is their spike with the blinks, do go for that smoke play. No forward vision to really spot out where FNATIC's playing, but they could run into Genuel again if he's not careful.
Well, they haven't even got Jackie with them, but you are right. Genuel, he might be the target as they are going to blink right on target. FBZ, he's going to find the Treant. That'll be another easy kill there for Japoi. He does pick up his own blink dagger now on the Pango, and this is where things start to get a little bit scary if you are going against the Pangolier. Just so much control with that blink up. So much initiation now from Boom Esports, and it does feel like FNATIC is slowly having their backs against the wall, as it does seem like Boom, they're going to go for a bit more down south. FBZ looking for another target is not going to quite see DJ. The Shaman will be okay, but Boom, they'll just take over the map. With this lead on Jackie, there's just no slowing down for them now.
They know how big this Ursa is getting. And once the BKB is up for Jackie, he's going to be very well protected. It's all about timing it up against, particularly Overgrowth. It's going to be your massive issue. Of course, Stone Gaze is always a consistent issue for the Ursa. And BKB's not going to save you against that, so it's all about timing. If FNATIC finds a good window to get their team fight going with Ravage, Overgrowth, and Stone Gaze stacked up nicely, they still have a lot of angles to take. You know, their team fight's still looking pretty strong. Jabso is still saving up for BKB, so no blink initiation yet from FNATIC's end. And that lack of mobility makes it hard to start these fights. They just need someone who can jump in, get instant control off. And I'm leaning towards thinking that it's DJ who's going to pick up that pace here, Mike. He's saving up for his blink, he's got the Philosopher's Stone, almost there. So once you have Blink Hex, maybe that's the point where you start to run and gun a little bit more with your Ruined Ranger and look for some single target pickoffs. But until that point, Boom is just working this map way too well.
Oh, down south, John Jabs. He's been scouted out. With that scan, they know someone's in the tree line, but they may assume it's Genuel in the tree. And they may not bother trying to jump in instead up north. Scam, he does actually find the tree. So now they know Genuel's not in the tree line, and instead they're going to find out it's Jabs. But it's a Tide Hunter, and they don't have the bodies right now to throw at him. So they'll have to take the tree and protect a kill instead. Though again, considering how fast Jackie's farming right now, I just don't think that's an issue. They're just more than happy to drag this out here, Boom Esports. No pressure whatsoever.
Yeah, and they've still got a lot to grow on that Ursa and on Pango as well. Where we're seeing Yopaj, again, he's got his blink up. He's going for the Lotus Orb to have some ways of dispelling in the middle of these fights. Good way to save as well, in case you're in a spot of trouble. BKB for FBZ, still lacking the recipe gold. So you're not in a massive rush. You kind of want to line up all these protective items on your cores to have a good jump in. But again, you're giving FNATIC that time to work towards that blink for DJ flying out now. So the Shaman does have that initiation on hand. And you've also got Jabs BKB. So this is the moment for FNATIC to clump up, and Floods look like they'll go for a smoke play once more.
They're going to try. Keep in mind, Jabs this time has the BKB up rather than the blink himself. So they are heavily reliant on either DJ or Armel getting that initiation off. Hell, even Genuel on the tree with the overgrowth could do it for them, but instead they're going to go for the Roshan. They understand how powerful their team fight is. The thing is, Boom Esports, they seem to know it's happening. Jackie, he's going to run right past. In fact, they don't know. They don't know Roshan's happening yet. The smoke's not going to break. They weren't within range. Oh, are they going to check?
Oh, Yopaj.
Oh, he might check Yopaj. He's going to move in right now, but it's too late. Ravage is out. Jabs with the perfect initiation. They'll get Yopaj down immediately. But Armel, he's in big trouble to boot on this Wind Ranger. Still alive. Overgrowth is there, but it's not going to be enough. They'll get the Aegis down, but can they find the secondary? It doesn't seem like it. Not without the Rolling Thunder. They'll have to back off. FBZ going to cop the shackles, but he's fine with the Inkswell. It's in the backside, though. Scam is going to get caught. They'll find the Hoodwink instead. And so FNATIC somehow end up getting away with that Roshan. I can't believe they didn't walk close enough for the Roshan, for the smoke to break.
Yeah, just on knife's edge. I don't think they expected it again. They had a good read on what to do in the map, but they don't manage to find the objective quick enough. In FNATIC, they instantly lose the Aegis, so that's something Boom can be happy about, but they take some losses that are they're not, that don't really benefit them. Yopaj just dies. He doesn't manage to roll in. He did have that suspicion of the rush falling. The moment he walks in, he is immediately punished. Didn't quite commit the roll to get in there as well. And now you're at this breaking point with Adusa, Mike. He's got the Scotty up. Raven's feeling really strong in the front lines. Has a lot of stats to play with. This is where the matchup for the Ursa gets a little bit iffy. Yes, you've got the Blink. Yes, you've got BKB. But if you don't manage to isolate Raven early on in some of these prolonged fights, the Adusa will be able to kite you. Especially with the Scotty up. It's not going to feel comfy for Jackie. And I think that's something FNATIC's very keenly aware of with the Adusa core. Like, they are also confident in scaling it towards late game. Even something like the Wind Ranger can be an issue towards the late game as well. Especially once you hit your talent spikes, it just feels obnoxious to go against. Although thankfully the Wind Run Undispellable talent is gone. There are ways to manage, but looks like Boom will just settle for an objective, pushing in bot. Some defense here from FNATIC though.
They haven't settled yet, John. They've still got to try and fight this one out as Skem. He's going to set up onto Genuel, but he's alone right now, so Armel and DJ just going to move in for the freest kill of their lives, and they'll take it. While Boom Esports, they are still pinging out that bottom tier 2 tower. Can they really force this fight? Without Ravage up on Jabs, maybe you can. Boom. Still very cautious. Yopaj, that'll be enough. They see Jabs rotate. But again, John, when you leave these towers alone, Genuel eventually is just going to heal them up all the way. And so Boom, knowing this, just don't have an option. They've just got to get out of it.
And they back off. They pop Dragon Form and FPZ for that. Seeing that opportunity after Armel pops his BKB, they still didn't have that information in the tree line to really get that aggression going. And you are starting to see, again, that catch-up here for Raven. Jackie's still maintaining a slight lead, but it just feels like the Deuce at this point in the game feels like a massive threat. Like, what ways do you have of holding that Deuce down? You need to find a good rollout from Yopaj. You need to get a good angle with FBZ. Your chain stuns basically coming through from your two supports in the Pango. And it's not reliable big AoE control as well. It's not the most reliable in comparison to FNATIC. So it feels like it's much more execution heavy for Boom, and FNATIC just has this leeway where and they can just kind of keep farming up. They've got really wide AoE spots that don't need too much timing to land really well, and they have a win condition that just outranges the Ursa and can kite it, so they can afford to take it slow. Yeah, they're lagging behind by 2k, and not the biggest issue is as long as their towers hold, FNATIC still has map to play with to get that build-up.
Look at FNATIC now, John. They're going to go for a tier 2 tower trade in the side lanes, and this is something that really they shouldn't be able to get away with, but they've been so good at just holding on to those towers longer than they should have. And so boom, now they have to go for an even trade. They don't really want the fight into FNATIC at the moment. Keep in mind, Jabs now does have the blink up, so it's scary times for Boom to try and move in unless they found the Tidehunter first. So outposts are going to be taken across the map. 2k net worth lead still stands for Boom, but it's such a close game. And it's one of those things about high-level Dota, John. It's not checkers, it's chess. And it's certainly what we're watching right now between these two teams.
Just very smart movements from both sides, very calculated plays, cutting the losses in some of these team fights early on as well, and just kind of taking control of the map piece by piece. FNATIC still in a really good point in this game though. Like with the top outpost for themselves, they have easier Rosh access. They've been on point with their movement in smokes into Roshan. Boom just hasn't read it twice in a row now. They do get some build-up here on Boom's end. Jackie does have the MKB to deal with Armel to an extent, to kind of just run down Medusa as well. Maybe deal with a Halberd eventually for Jabs and the evasion that provides. Boom still are in need of more, and this is where some of that concern comes in again. The scaling of their cores aren't amazing. Like DK can scale with, say, the Ags build-up. Pangolier, there's a timing there with a Basher where he feels really strong as well, but it's not like a Wind Ranger where his scaling is just straight up. You know, it's a lot of damage, it's a lot of control towards the late game. Wind Run's very annoying to deal with as well until certain items are up. And there's just so much kite potential from FNATIC that, again, as this game goes late, it's not like Boom gets completely out of it, but it does feel like it gets harder and harder to find that opening they want, and for FNATIC it gets easier and easier with their kind of lineup, as they will go for a smoke play here.
Absolutely. Smoke up right behind Raven. Always using that Medusa as bait. It does become very obvious, Boom Esports, they should know everyone's right behind Raven, or rather in front at the moment. As FNATIC, they might try for high ground. Shadow, or rather Silver Edge is up on Raven. They'll get started. I don't think Boom really want to force this fight right now. It seems like they're waiting for Tims to have the Aghanim Scepter up on the Grimstroke, so you at least have the Dark Portrait of Raven that you can take. That can be quite devastating for FNATIC once that is up, but look how fast they're taking this tier 3 tower. These Serpent Wards, John, they're a bit too strong, don't you think?
That they are. Very low committal, easy push coming out. You get from free wards as well with the Shackles if DJ was feeling brave. Shackle up the creep wave, get some 4 wards for a few seconds, get that push going. Tower does stand barely here from the side of Boom, as they will go for a smoke themselves.
Oh, nice blink away. Jackie still going to try and blink forward. A bit of a mix-up, but they do find DJ. Again, not the biggest kill in the world, but it's something here for Boom, as they're going to take their outpost back and try to control the area around Roshan. And I think that's going to be something that's very important for either team. This third Roshan coming up. And if you're Boom Esports right now, John, you must be kind of fuming that you've lost 2 Roshans with an Ursa in your draft of all things. And that's exactly what happened. So third Roshan, you really can't afford to miss out.
No, you definitely can't. And they've got Hammer in control. They still don't have wards in the area. They could try to use a smoke down the line. Roche still about 40 seconds away until we see that timer.
Oh, FBZ. Walk right past, but Armel, he's right there with the lockdown. That's a big pick-off for FNATIC. No buyback available for 50 on FBZ. I don't think there's any objectives they can really take, but I guess they can take the Dire Outpost back. That's pretty much about it here for FNATIC.
They can take the outpost. They could maybe just poke the tier 3 tower down. It's only 176 HP, so you clump up, you should be able to find that objective as well. Of course, an earlier response. Your creep wave is a bit far though, so you can't really progress further than that, but they are in a good position now for FNATIC to just stall out until Roche. Again, they've got the vision, they've got the control in the top area. Boom, playing across the river, finding what farm they can down bot. That's where all their wards are focused as well, in an area where FNATIC hasn't really played in a long time. Roshan timer, 40 seconds here. That's enough time for FBZ to at least be back in this fight. But it's as you said, Mike, Boom has to be on point for this Roche. They've got to be able to contest. Because if FNATIC gets this next Roshan as well, I mean, high ground's just very easy for them to take.
Yeah. Still holding Roshan area. Boom. Again, quite far, quite split up right now. But they do have Tims coming in with the Axe. And I think that might be the turning point here for Boom Esports. And any hero generally doesn't like Dark Portrait, but then if you're a Medusa, even worse, is it's a double Axe up here for Jackie and Tims. So now you've got the Enrage while you're disabled. And why the hell not, right? Just Enrage when I'm stunned. Sounds good to me. FBC, he's going to make a jump in. The Treant is going to get caught out. They'll find Genuel. Not a bad start here for Boom. Roshan will now spawn up. Both teams have their eyes peeled for that one.
It does give Boom a slight advantage if they did want to force rush. They even get the Ags up on Yopaj as well. So he does have that extra swash and the shield crash, giving some more presence for Pango. They still don't have the best control. They will smoke up, though, knowing that they need to hunt more. They still try to ravage into Roche, but they'll make steps up. Have to walk through high ground if they want to find a kill, though.
Jab's going to block the way. BKB popped immediately in a quick blink out, but Jackie, he's still going to go for a bit of a chase here onto Jabs, and he's got plenty of damage here for the Tidehunter, but the Ravage is going to fly out. Stonegaze is there, and they've got Jackie down. Oh, Boom Esports, they've gone too far. FNATIC, they will punish heavily. There's FBZ, he's still trying to run, but he's going to drop. Genuel looking for a bit more, does land the overgrowth onto Tim so they can at least find the Grimstroke. FNATIC just so conservative, but it ends up paying off for them. Problem is they don't have the Shaman for the Roshan, but they might have enough damage with Armel and Raven anyway.
Yeah, it is there. Have to commend DJ. DJ's positioning was so well. He hid in the tree line, he wasn't caught out, he managed to get a good hex while the Ursa was chasing, and that gave them the opening for big Ravage, for big Stonegaze to follow through, and just collapse onto Boom in that tight area. Again, for FNATIC, the execution for these fights, it's a lot easier. They've got very reliable stuns, very wide AoE, and it's just easy for them to turn. For Boom, they have to force that angle, and they haven't found it again. You get the free Ags now as well for Armel and that Roshan. So he's going to have wider AoE for the wind run. It's going to feel a little bit more oppressive with a slow. And just makes it easier, again, to keep kiting that Ursa around. This is going to be a constant factor for Jackie. If he's going to jump in, it's so easy to run away. With a Blink BKB, you can just escape for free. Almost every single time if you play your cards right.
You certainly can, John. Yopaj, mid lane, going to go for a Rolling Thunder. Is going to miss out. Genuel, again, very fast with the blink out. Is not going to get punished by the Pango. So Boom Esports, once again, unable to find a victim for themselves, and well, it's back to the drawing board for them, but for FNATIC, still an 8k net worth advantage, still very conservative play, but they're the ones with the Medusa. They're feeling very confident going into that late game. And Raven, he's still got so much space to grow on this Medusa. You've got another slot when the Aegis expires, as well as the Treads. I wonder what he wants. It doesn't really matter, it's Medusa, John. It just hits very hard.
And they did pass the Ags to Raven instead, so they don't give the Armel the upgraded wind run. You have to deal with a Mystic Snake stone form. This is just painful for an Ursa. It's not going to feel fun up against that Dusa. You're constrained to your BKB timing, you're constrained to popping your Enrage, maybe getting your shard up to have that protection, but easier said than done in the middle of these engagements. So we'll see how much Jackie can do. The rest of the team of Boom really have to find the openings. They've got to get a good roll. You have to jump the back line. I think ideally you kill off the supports. DJ or Jonuel have to go, take out Overgrowth or the Hex. Both of them are going to be a big nuisance for the Ursa, and then you can try to handle the Tide. You have to try to leave the Dusa last, but with the items Raven has, leaving him for last just gives him so many chances to just get all that damage off in these prolonged fights.
Boy, that is a very aggressive TP, Mr. Yopaj. He's going to get petrified there for a moment. Raven wants to keep going. Japoy, he's got the Rolling Thunder now. Still buying a lot of time for his team to make their way over as Jabs is going to drop immediately to Jackie. They've got the Tidehunter down, and now they've got Raven controlled up. Can they actually find the Medusa, though? He's still got the Aegis, but they might find the first life. As Tims, he's going to drop. Jackie still trying to man-fight, but he's just stuck up right now. Raven still surviving, not losing the Aegis. Maybe eventually they find it as Jabs. He bought back with the Ravage out. FBZ's going to go down, and now Japoy, he started the team fight, and he's going to end the team fight by just dying. FNATIC, way too clean in this game number one. as they can just go high ground and boom, they've got no buybacks available.
This is a scary spot for Boom. The push coming through from FNATIC, it's not going to take too long. Creep wave is pretty close now, so it's not going to take, again, that much time to clear through. They've got 2 sets of racks, well, only 1 set of racks to go through, as the tier 2 still stands down mid and the tier 1 stands bot. So only 1 racks for Boom to lose, but you can see how hard these fights are. They managed to get that on jabs, they focused in on the DOTA, they didn't have sustain on Jackie. No Mask of no Morbid Mask, no Satanic, only relying on the Paladin Sword, not enough to sustain. And in these prolonged fights, you're going to need that source of sustenance. You know, Raven's just going to constantly hit back. Stone Gaze stalls you out. You can't dispel through the stone form. So it just counters the Ursa very, very hard. And Boom did pick the Ursa into the Medusa. So it's a toughie, as they will start to pressure that tier 3. No Aegis, so it's a bit... There is an opening for Boom. Respawns are fairly short. They're not likely to lose a second racks, but having 1 lane up, having 1 area that's just going to constantly shove in, makes this game a lot tougher for Boom. They have decent wave clear with a Pangolier, and to an extent the DK as well. But how do you take these fights? You really do have to find that perfect role. You have to be able to isolate these heroes one by one from FNATIC. And for FNATIC, if they just kind of stay loosely together, it just feels like every single time they're able to counter-initiate much stronger in comparison to Boom.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's one thing FNATIC's been very good at this game, number one, is just allowing Boom to throw everything they've got immediately as the team fight begins and just waiting. Especially for that Rolling Thunder to just expire. And this might be one of the worst games Japoy's had in a long time as well, John. 5-4-7. Not something we're used to saying about the man, but I guess that's the embassy effect. You go to the embassy, this is what happens.
He was tired. He looked really, really dead in that video, so, you know... maybe best to leave that until after matches, as I think FNATIC is done. As they seem rested, they seem ready. Bit of a shove down bot. Smoke on smoke now here as well.
Smoke on smoke situation. FNATIC, they're going to wrap around, it seems like, perhaps the long way through the triangle. No, they're going to hang around bot lane instead. Boom. Oh, Yopaj, he can't afford to die. Ravage, no, he jukes it. Oh, Yopaj, he's juked it out completely as jabs. He's going to try to run, but how do you react that quickly? Still, Jackie in big trouble now as the Medusa's going to move in. Raven, he'd love the Ursa and Armel. With the focus fire, just getting so many arrows into the Ursa as Yopaj. He's going to move in with the Rolling Thunder, but the Overgrowth's got him. He's going to cancel it off, keep trying to fight back, but FNATIC, they aren't flinching. They'll just keep going for the team fight. Still FNATIC, they're trying. They are dropping a little bit lower. FBZ now tanking up, just trying to TP away, might just make it, and does. But in the meantime, Armel, he's got Tim's down. Yopaj, he's going to run the old-fashioned way. And he'll do so towards the south, but DJ is not going to make it. Oh boy. That looked like it was going to be a great start to a great team fight for Boom. That Ravage dodge from Yopaj, just massive, but it just doesn't make enough of a difference.
No, they have so much more control, and we saw Jackie, he tried to chase down jabs. He can't slow him down when the BKB's up. He doesn't have his own defusal for inhibit, so he's just outrun. And he runs in, gets Stone Gaze up, gets shackles.
That's a big bushwhack. Big bushwhack, another bushwhack. Scam just holding them down so long. They do find DJ, but can they do with Raven? He's the big problem. He's the raid boss right now, as he'll just go right in the middle. Look at this man. He is afraid of nothing. Or maybe he is. He's out of mana. Raven, you've got to be careful. Have you gone too far? Did you get too confident? It doesn't seem like it yet, but Japoy just controlling him up, getting him down. Can they hold him down long enough? Japoy's still trying, but he's surrounded by the side of FNATIC. He's going to drop. Without Jackie up, they just don't have the damage. And FNATIC once again successfully going to move high ground. There's nothing Boom can do about it.
I mean, it's a valiant effort from Boom, but as you said, Mike, they need the damage from the Ursa. And that would have been the ideal situation, to have the blink up, get the Fury swipes off, clean up the DOTA, and get running from there. But FNATIC just timed it right. They push high ground. They know Jackie's not going to be coming back for that one. And they don't quite find a high ground fight they want. You know, they don't find objectives for their trouble. They drop a hero here and there, but they don't take any massive losses, and they still apply that pressure onto Boom. Boom's not able to leave their base. They're not able to farm up for bigger items. They lose the Yopaj on the back of that. They had a buyback from Scam that hasn't given them enough yet as well on top of that. And they can just rinse and repeat now. Their cooldowns are back up. Ravage is back. Stone Gaze is back. Overgrowth is back. and they can just siege again. Even the Serpent boards are ready for DJ if they just want to drop it on a Rax.
They may just. He's thinking about it. Raven will still just front line. Skem obviously very annoying with that the shards and the hoodwink. One of the things with the Medusa is you can't really avoid hitting that damn illusion, so you're almost guaranteed to just land the bushwhack every time. Thing is, T3 tower is gone. FNATIC, it's slow play, but it's working very effectively as Boom, they're the ones who need to find a way back into this. 20k behind, they're going to rush for the Roshan pit. Roshan, it's still down for another 2 minutes. They just can't risk FNATIC taking it themselves. So they've got to wrap around immediately. Try to make sure it is contested if it is alive. In the meantime, FNATIC, they'll group up on the triangle, on the high ground. Could be a terrible fight for Boom if they move their way up, but it seems like they're going to decide to. Jackie, they move in. Ravage is out. Jabs, he's landed only on TFBZ as Raven is still dropping. Stonegaze is out. Chapoy, he'll move through, but the BKB, it was there in time. Raven, he's still alive. The Petrify now, the Rolling Thunder. It just can't get there, and Jackie, he's going to drop on the Ursa. They just can't control Raven. The Chapoy just going to run, but he can't do it. Oh, they throw everything at Raven, but the man just won't die.
I mean, you got the good angle again. Jackie's right on top of the Medusa. He's trying to focus in. He pops his BKB, but after that fades, it's only a 6-second window. Not long enough to work through all the stats Raven has to burn through that mana shield. And he still has enough mana to get the Stone Gaze off. Ravage comes through, all the control in the world. FNATIC, it's just so easy to pull these 5v5s off. They have such wide AoEs. The circles are in flame, like. What can I say? I ramble about the circles. You've got Medusa, you've got Overgrowth, you've got Ravage. To an extent, the Shaman with wards, and Boom just doesn't have that same kind of effect in these team fights. It's all so reliant on Skem to land a big bushwhack. Even then, that's just not the same as a big Ravager Overgrowth.
Oh boy, they've got Yokaj on the Pango. He can't afford to die right now. He's gonna get the Rolling Thunder off. In fact, never mind. He'll hold out for now. FBZ and Jackie, they're gonna buy back. On the Ursa, they'll move in. They are gonna find DJ on the Shaman, but DJ, he's got a BKB of his own now. He can try to turn around. He wants the Ursa. They won't find him yet. Jackie still rushing forward. Even the Sharpshooter not going to land on DJ. His Armel's going to move back in with the Shackles, but it won't quite latch on. The FNATIC, they are completely just outplaying Boom Esports here in this game one. Is it still all about Roshan and FNATIC? They've timed it perfectly.
Yep, Roche number 4 going FNATIC's way. Refresh plus the Axe Blitzing along with the Cheese and Aegis. Double Ravage coming out for Jabs. Double Stone Gaze, not too bad as well. I think you're going to want that on Jabs for sure here. Aegis to protect Raven. Ags upgrade down the line for anyone as well.
They can't make it in time, John. No Rolling Thunder up on Japoy. It just makes it so hard to initiate. That's massive for FNATIC now. I mean, how do you come back from this?
I don't know. Your lineup on Boom just isn't suited to fight into what FNATIC has on a 5v5. You have to find a pick-off, you have to isolate a hero, burn them down, but we've seen them try. I mean, that chase down mid on DJ, he just pops BKB, he runs away. You have nothing to stop that. You don't have that basher up yet on Yopaj. It feels like that's probably going to be the one thing that they'll have to pierce through that spell immunity to give them some control back in the middle of these fights. Whether or not it's going to be too little too late, it's a different question. They've only got 1 Rax left, 1 set of Rax down, bot. That basher is still a ways off in terms of gold as well, and there's just not enough room for Boom to farm outside. FNATIC, they could just force the issue right here with all the spells they have. The refresh on Jabs, the secondary life they have on Raven. I don't think it's going to be enough from Boom unless they do isolate them one by one somehow.
This could be the final team fight here for Boom Esports, John. They are very low on buybacks right now. In fact, FBZ is the only one that has buyback on Boom. So you've got the Dragonite for a second life, but that's about it. They're going to hide in the tree line and try to get a surprise initiation, but who are they going to find? FNATIC, they're just going to move in. Jabs already out. DJ, who's he got? Ravage is massive. Jabs with a great initiation as Jackie. He's going to pop the enrage, but it may not matter. Raven's right behind him on the Medusa. They've got him down. Oh, Boom. They are just getting wiped here as they are still trying to catch Armel, but he's just running in circles around them. Another Ravager from Japs, connecting onto perfect gush from the Tidehunter. They'll call the GG. FNATIC take game number 1. Boom Esports. Well, they've got to rethink things for game 2 here, John. It was a great start, but FNATIC just outplayed them from mid to late.
Yeah, they play really well in FNATIC. They understood their win condition. And Raven, they just stall out for the DOTA to grow really big. And they execute really well. FNATIC didn't give any openings to Boom. They stuck together as 5 for the most part of the game. Once they were ready to go, they understood what Boom had to do. Boom needed some single target pickoffs to get their ball rolling. They never found it. And by the time they